everyone, I'm Mr. P here once again with Mr. Dave. We are the Geeky Guys, and this is a Tea Break podcast, and it's a Tea Break podcast special, Dave.
It is, yes. Thank you, Mr. Pete. We're back with another special episode. Our guest this time is an editor and producer of American television and film. Some of his recent works include Fox's 911, One Mississippi, Heroes Reborn, The Brilliant CSI Miami, and of course our main talking point, TheOrville. Yeah. Welcome to Tea Break Podcast, Tom Costantino.
Hi.
Hi, thanks for coming on and doing this for us, Tom. All the way over in the States. I do apologise. I'm slightly red in the face today. This is because I've been out in the sunshine all day, and I didn't
my God!
And it's my own fault. So you two look really good, and I just look like some kind of big pink blob.
I am lit by computer lighting. It's not that great.
Oh, well, there you go. I'll learn to put sunscreen on. It's my own fault.
I did shower, though, so, I mean, at least I did that for you.
I know I forgot something.
Oh, man.
We obviously predominantly got you on to talk about the Orville, of course.
Yeah.
Series 3 has, I think the last episode has just dropped this week. Was it this week?
Yeah,
last night.
Yesterday, yeah. I've literally just watched the finale episode about half hour, 40 minutes ago.
Oh, you're fresh on it, huh?
Right up to date with it,
I'm not completely with Series 3, I must admit. I'm slightly behind, but...
yeah, that's fill you in a little bit, haven't I?
Yeah, you have a little bit. We'll have to have a bit of a cheat session where you tell me everything. Although obviously series 1 to 3 now, you just mentioned Dave's all on Disney. Well, you did mention a bit ago.
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus now. So
Hulu and obviously Disney Plus over here.
Yeah, it'll be everywhere on Disney Plus and Hulu starting the 10th, if it isn't already. So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all out there for everybody to digest and take in, and I love it. So if you be interesting to find out how you first got involved in the Orville, how did you get the gig, so to speak?
Well, I was working on another show, a couple of other shows for actually Tim Kring. Was a great little show called Dig that was with Jason Isaacs and the Heroes Reborn series. Yeah. And it's kind of sci-fi driven. It's just a fun little ditty. And the post producer came over into this show called at the time Orville, and she threw my name in. She knew I was a big sci-fi fan, and obviously I could handle visual effects, and I had some comedy background. And I just went through rounds and rounds of interviews. I first met with Brandon and some of the other producers, which was amazing because I love Brandon Braga. And then got to the end somehow, and I was with Seth and Jon Favreau. And the interview was like 10 minutes of my editing thing. And then we just started pivoting to Star Trek and Star Wars and just talking about that. And, they asked me my favorite ep. I've said this before, but it was Chain of Command. And, but yeah, no, it was just like, it became like a conversation with three people. And I was like, I was nervous as heck because, I was able to read all the scripts, and obviously I'm a big sci-fi fan, and all the storyboards were up and the sets were being built, and it was like, oh my God, this thing is going to be crazy. And then I finished the interview. I had to delay because of a Christmas trip, so I was like alone. My family was already on their trip, and I went to the Peninsula Hotel nearby. I ordered a martini, and 20 minutes into the martini, I got the job.
Nice. Yeah. That's a good time to hear it when you got the celebration drink right there as well.
Well, it wasn't for celebration. It was to calm my nerves.
Right. I see. I'm with you. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
I suppose if you're going to be interviewed by anybody and being interviewed by people that are heavy into their sci-fi as well, especially if it's you, that's nice.
It was nice that that they took an interest in doing the hiring themselves.
Not just an interest though, Tom, but obviously they must have seen something they like in you, because as you went through the series, your sort of role increased each series. Yeah,
I guess it's sort of. I mean, obviously, just I'm a pretty dedicated guy, and Seth is an amazing boss, and a good dude, and he's just put a lot of faith in me over time. And it's a pretty massive project, so like I just like to help and fill in where I can. And we have a great team over here. There's a lot of people who stepped up over the years, and it's it's nice to eventually get a title and all that other stuff, but I just like to help.
Nice, yeah, because I think you started off as an editor, didn't you, on the first series?
Well, I still edit. I mean, that's still my primary job, but I still love editing. But exactly, that's the main gig of the gig.
Yeah, lovely. And then obviously associate producer and then co-producer on season 3.
Right.
Which is really, really cool.
What's it like? Is it any different from editing a sci-fi type show to sort of I say normal sort of real world
non-sci-fi?
Well, you mean just like a drama or something?
Yeah. So I mean, you take something like CSI Miami, which is obviously a cop show. Is there any differences in the editing, or is it the process exactly?
Well, no, I mean storytelling. So the character stuff's always the same. You're always looking for performance and nuance and that kind of thing. But it's just we have previs, we got storyboards, massive planning. Ironically, CSI Miami had an excellent second unit because we had to do a lot of pickups to keep the schedule going. So bringing that experience over was good. But it's just the scale, the sheer scale, and also like everything needs to be made and created, and you can't go more than 2 shots without a green or a blue screen in it. It's like, or in some cases in other shows, an AR wall. There's always something that needs to be made otherworldly, and that brings a lot of infrastructure. But jokes are jokes and characters are characters, and you gotta make sure that you serve the story no matter what you do, even on a reality show or any of that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's interesting that you've seen the bigger evolution of the show as well. So obviously the first season, like you said, was a lot of humor in there. There's a lot of sort of slapstick and satire, and some of it was a bit sort of naughty and a bit more Family Guy and Pure Island. And then it's kind of evolved into sort of like the storytelling and the character-driven comedy and development has come to the fore, and it's been much more of a sort of almost like Star Trek, just like almost like a fairly straight sci-fi show. But still the funny stuff in there, just slightly more understated.
Well, there is still plenty of humor, and it's sort of like, I mean, Seth and the writers can do humor. It's so easy for them, so it's sort of like the ability to flex their muscles. And I'm not comparing us to Picasso, but like Picasso can draw a very traditionalist, but he doesn't because he can. And I sort of feel like that's the same thing. Like they can do comedy, but they can also do other things, so they're expanding outward. I mean, some of us on here haven't seen the finale, but it's not. There's no loss of humor in that.
No,
by design.
Yeah, it's still in there, isn't it? It's like I say, it's just done slightly differently, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very, very much because through the season, through the 3 seasons, you've got to know the characters, and a lot of the humor that comes out, you find funny because you know those characters and you know how they've sort of reacted to a situation.
Character-based organic stuff is always the best way, and that's we obviously have that history now. Jokes register, and we can bring back characters and people. We built an IP up from the ground, so that takes some time.
Yeah, definitely. It's I mean, I think I can speak to for Mr. B as well, that we said, didn't we, that going back to sort of 2016, 2017, there wasn't really a lot of Star Trek out there. Obviously it's everywhere now since sort of the resurgence, but I think the Orville did fill that void when there wasn't a lot of Star Trek out there. And obviously we had Discovery, which was a little darker in the first season, which took some getting used to through people a little bit. So it was really nice to have the Orville in there, and then it's kind of evolved and developed, and it's such a great show. I just think it was just brilliant that it came in at the time it did.
Yeah, they do great. I know some people over there, they do great stuff. I mean, I think Stranger World's great. Very well done.
Yeah, we've really enjoyed that.
And I think there's always room for lots of, you can't get enough of sci-fi. I mean, even Severance technically is sci-fi, you know.
That's true.
So, I mean, I don't want to spoil that, but you know what I mean? Like the weird offbeat, otherworldly there's plenty of a market for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we were just really happy that when it was announced, because as Dave said, there wasn't anything really out. The Discovery had it just come out or just been announced, whichever way.
Yeah.
And obviously Discovery was very different from every Trek that we'd seen before.
Yeah.
So having this show, which we felt would be a little bit more similar to sort of the 90s era of Trek, the
right.
era of Trek, if you like, which I think a lot of fans were missing. And it certainly filled that void, didn't it, until this era's really kicked off. But there was a lot of there's a lot of similarities between the Orville and sort of the 90s era of Trek. Which we love. That's obviously a positive for us. Because you know, everything from even uniform style and colors to, you know, to obviously the set design to a point. And that was nice. That's a really nice nod, because we were just talking before we came on, me and Dave. I understand Seth wanted to kind of, he looked at doing a Star Trek show before doing the Orville. So this probably was born out of that, maybe.
Well, he's got an amazing film vocabulary and sci-fi vocabulary. I mean, you know, I can't say enough. You know, he's a smart guy. And there's a lot that brain can hold. So he's got a deep bench for a lot of this stuff. And he's a real, I mean, I could say this, he's a real fanboy. Like he loves, you know, he's my, I mean, I'm a little older than him, but he's our age contemporary. You know, he grew up watching The Next Gen on TV with his family and all that. And Star Wars, like he's of that Gen X generation. So, you know, it's harder because he's famous that he can't probably enjoy it sometimes in the same way that, you know, he can't like go on Twitter and be like, oh, that episode wasn't, you know, like he can't do that. He just, which you know, it's hard because that's part of the enjoyment is getting to discuss it with your friends.
Yeah, of course, that's it. But with social media, with the way it's like, you just get swamped, don't you? And everything gets lost in the mass a lot of the time, doesn't it?
Well, I can't either. I mean, I'm a nobody, but I so much as say two words. Like I don't want to like start or say like my ability to just be a good old fashioned TV watcher, at least for now, it's gone. I mean, I can do it. I just can't put it on Twitter.
No, that's it, isn't it?
So.
But I think, going back to what you said about obviously Seth being, you know, a big fanboy and sort of fan of these shows and grew up in that era. I mean, I think you can tell that the Orville comes from a place of love for the genre from those shows, and you could kind of see that a little bit in Family Guy, especially in the early days, all the different references that were made to different shows, and sometimes even obscure ones that were perhaps not maybe massively popular at the time, but are cult now, were in there. So you can see sort of where it comes from, and it's such a lovely tapestry to build from.
Literature and history, and like I said, he and all the writers have a deep bench, you know, and those quotes eventually, you know, like Ozymandias, I know it was in Breaking Bad, but like there's other, you know, even like Halsey and all the admirals are named after basically everybody in World War II. And, you know, there's a lot of love and intelligence in a lot of the references.
I think that's shown as well by the quality of the guest stars that you've got on the show or had on the show. Because I mean, I'm looking at this list in front of me now, and to take all podcasts to read them all, but there is quite a plethora of Star Trek alumni in there, from Robert Picardo and so on. But then you've got people like Liam Neeson, Bruce Willis, so Victor Garber, especially. So you've got these big names that clearly. Well, they must enjoy working with Seth and you.
They do. They do. I think
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Happy to have him too.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just, for fans like us, I mean, it just brings so much more to our viewing experience when you watch it and all of a sudden it'll say guest star, and it's like, oh, he's in it. Who's he going to play in this one? And that's really nice to see those people you've known and loved on screen come back into the show. So you've got a Star Trek fans, because we're big Star Trek fans of the show. But it's like you've got this sci-fi show that's a bit like Star Trek, that's got comedy in it, and you've got all these great guest stars as well.
Right.
It's got a little bit of everything, and obviously the storytelling as well, as you said, is hard hitting sometimes as well.
Yeah.
You've not shied away from hitting some of the big issues of the day.
Right.
Again, I can't kind of what Star Trek does as well, but and that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, that brings to me, I saw a quote the other day from the Palmer Report on Twitter. I don't know whether Tom saw it, but I think it just sums up the Orville really, really well. And they said it's thought-provoking, smart, funny, definitely tackles many of the social and ideological issues we're dealing with today, which is pretty much what you were just saying.
Yeah, it was
I think,
nice.
That's just spot on. What the Orville is. It's you can't really say how much more about it, but I just thought that was a lovely quote that they put out that just summed it up really well.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, when I see tweets like that, it just makes, it's like, oh, it's because people don't have to do that. They don't have to take a minute out of their day to talk about something. So I
think when it's making a big world impact like that, that's when it really hits home. What you've worked on is having a massive influence, not just through the country, but through the entire world.
I don't take it for granted.
Were there any topics that maybe came up in any of the planning stages that you're aware of that they thought, well, maybe we can't really talk about that because it's maybe a little bit too sensitive? Or
well, I don't know necessarily. I mean, obviously I wasn't there in the writer's room, but I mean, from stuff that I've heard and said is that I think they set out to talk about the things they wanted to talk about. I mean, keep in mind, a lot of these scripts were written in 2019, and they seem like by timing they were written the night after the news came out or something. And that's because of the freshness of the story. So I don't think they were like saying, we're going to do a topic about this. I think they were continuing storylines that happen to have these thematic things. And unfortunately, there's a lot in the world to discuss. So, with only 10, even if you had 22, even if you had 22 episodes, you couldn't get to everything.
No,
definitely.
But yeah, I think it's a little bit of blind luck mixed in with there wasn't. I don't think there's anything that's taboo, because I think at least it's handled mostly delicately. Maybe that's the wrong word. Classily on our show.
With respect, you could say, I suppose.
Yeah, with respect, nuancy.
Definitely.
A word.
Yeah, because I mean, everything's been talked on from just basic sexism all the way up to sort of changing one's gender and whether that's right or not. You've really gone for there's a whole range of issues that it attacks and not attacks that you tackle. And
well, credit. Oh, sorry, I didn't cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, no. You tackle all those.
No, I was gonna
do it well.
Right. Well, I was gonna say credit to the writers and to the actors. Is that like I said, there's even takes that you may or may not agree with. I think a lot of, I don't know, take Clyden for example. Like Clyden could be a one-note character. I mean, I love Chad, and I think he's a great actor, and the character's well written. But like, if you really watch everything that Clyden has said, it's a very nuanced, detailed, layered reasoning as to his emotional arc. That's great that it's not just so one note. So
I mean, they kind of really looked at Clyden in season 3, didn't they? And it came out that he was the way he was because of how he'd been brought up, the society he'd been brought up in. He'd not seen anything different until obviously they'd been entered into the Planetary Union. And he kind of has that realization that certain things might not be quite right, and the way he's acting isn't maybe the best thing for Topher growing up. And he becomes a much more likable character because he's kind of investigating himself and his own thoughts and his own heart and evolving, and he's seeing that change, which I thought was really, really nicely done as well.
Yeah, like I said, Chad's really great at it's a really layered performance, and he's doing it under latex. Same thing with Peter. Like they have to do it under makeup too, and you forget that they're wearing 10 pounds of rubber. I mean, Howard and KMB Effects do an amazing job, but to have to also emote through that, There's some extra skill set that isn't recognized that's going on there, you know.
No, and you've also got obviously Mark Jackson. Isaac,
Yeah, he's
under
fantastic too.
Team as well. Me and Mr. P actually managed to meet Mark a few years ago, didn't we? COVID. It was really nice, and he's a really great guy, Anthony. You can certainly feel the love for the show and the love for what he's doing. You know, he's a smart guy. But I think I read earlier that doesn't he have to redo a lot of his lines because it gets muffled by the suit.
Yes, that's something we never conquered. So he reperforms the lines, but he likes to act the scenes first, so he knows what his motivation is, and then we do some takes of them, and then I'll put them in the edit. Mark is another great actor. I mean, like the fact that he can still be Isaac without the suit, there's a real illusion going on there. He is a robot. I actually love watching him act outside the suit because he's still Isaac, and with none of the bells and whistles. No, it's makes it look it's not easy, but they make it look easy.
Yeah, playing emotionless as a human, and it's just sort of second nature to do certain things with your face and to say things a certain way, but he really sticks into that tunnel and doesn't move out of it. And like you say, he's just completely just that character, whether the suit's on or off.
Right.
Which is amazing.
Exactly.
I might be wrong. I might be completely torn down on this. Was there an
stealing water? Keep going. I'm getting water.
No worries.
You can knock me down on this if you think, Dave, but I'm sure there was an episode in series 2 where we see Isaac not as a human. Is that right?
Yeah, it was a Happy Refrain. It was the second, which is my favorite episode from season 2, which I also cut, which Jonathan Frakes directed, which Seth did an amazing job writing, and did Jonathan? Wait, did Frakes? Yeah, I think maybe I'm crazy. Did Frakes do 5? Frakes did Priya. Maybe Seth did Happy Refrain, and Frakes did my other favorite episode was the Mockin episode.
Priya was directed by Jonathan Frakes. Yeah.
Yes, well that I remember because that was my first run with him. But yeah, no, I love a Happy Refrain. Like that was like, just when they're walking into singing in the rain music and the rain on the bridge, that's when I knew we were doing something special.
Wasn't that the one where Bortus got his moustache as well?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, it was. Malloy grooming encouragement.
Yeah.
I have to say, just going back to Jonathan Frakes again really quickly. Again, that was quite exciting when we found out that Jonathan Frakes, Star Trek fans, you like Jonathan Frakes directing because you're in good hands with him because he's done so much Star Trek, if you like, throughout the years. He just is just a natural on these shows.
Well, he's also a good guy and a good director. Like, I mean, just to say he's a good sci-fi director, he's a good director.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying you're saying it, but I want to make it clear. Like, he's just a good director. Like, I do a non, I think he does like a lot of leverage. I would do a leverage. Like he's a good. He brings good energy, and I mean, yes, and he's still Riker, so that's.
Yeah, he's a great director that can turn his hand to anything, can't he? And I mean, obviously he has directed a lot of Discovery and Orville, but people forget about the other things that he's done. He's worked on as well.
I have to just say, now you've said it. I do love Leverage. I think Leverage is awesome.
Yeah.
I love the new series was good as well. I really hope they decide to make some more.
I think he directed a couple of those. I think
the new one, I forget what it's called now. Redemption.
Redemption.
Yeah, that was really good. I really enjoyed that. But again, I mean, kind of. I'm going to try and backtrack slightly now. I'm going to backpedal now and pretend I didn't say that earlier. Yeah, when you see a show like Leverage, when you're a fan of Jonathan Frakes and you see the episode, it's really good because you then start looking for like traits of how he directs episodes, which is quite funny and quite geeky.
Exactly.
Let's not go to that level now. But
I think another episode that I'd like to mention as well, I think you quite like as well, Tom, was the Into the Fold. Which I think
you did some research.
Season 1. Oh yes, yeah, absolutely.
That was my other favorite episode.
But that was quite nice. That was co-written by Brannon as well, I think, wasn't it? And
yes, another human I love. Obviously I was a fan of his, but we've become friends and co-workers, and he's the best.
Nice. He did a really good conversation with. Have you seen the Shuttle Pod show with Connor Trinity and Dominic Keating?
Oh, did he do it? No, I didn't
Yeah,
actually see that one.
he did quite a nice set. They did two. They did an interview with Rick Berman, and they did an interview with Brandon Braga. Sort of hour and a half long interviews, which
Nice.
were really cool. It was really nice to kind of hear their side, 'cause it's very rare that you get an interview with any of those guys.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice to hear their thoughts and things they wanted to do that they couldn't, and how they felt about certain episodes and certain arcs
Right.
and things. Yeah, that was really cool. I'd definitely recommend checking that out.
I will definitely do that. I mean, I also have the live action version, so I can also ask too.
Yeah, true.
Just that episode as well. I know Andre Bermudez as
Yeah.
is he the science consultant on your show as well?
Is he what?
Is he the science consultant on your show?
Yes, but he's also a writer, and he's a help. But yeah, he helps make sure the science stays in check. But he's also,
I believe,
he's kind of
did that on Star Trek as well in the 90s.
Yeah, and he's sort of Brandon's partner on this show.
Yeah.
I mean, they seem to be paired up sometimes, but yeah, he's a real solid dude.
And I just wanted to point out that shows, all shows like this, or if they're worth anything, do have people like that on staff to make sure that things are you possibly can get
accurate. Yeah.
Within.
And I think we try stay accurate, and then every once in a while, like in the Gordon episode, like the blue and red light, that was, time passing, time dilation, or whatever's going on. I forget what's going on the bridge, but sometimes we'll throw it out to make something pretty. It is still a TV show.
Yeah, exactly. You've got that artistic license there, haven't you?
Yeah.
You might as well use it from time to time, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have that, because otherwise you're going to get letters.
You get letters when you do it right.
Yeah,
you're going to get letters. You're going to get letters no matter what.
Whatever.
Now it's posts. You're going to get posts.
You're going to get. I know it's kind of a funny joke we put out whenever we're doing a podcast and we say something that we think is a little bit close to the bone. We always say we'll get letters, don't we, Dave?
Yeah, it's very old school, that is, isn't it? It's not even emails anymore, is it?
Way to age us, boys. Thanks.
Yeah, right.
Letter. Oh God.
I turned 40 in December, and just gone, and I absolutely keep telling everybody now I'm old because I'm 40, and I keep getting moaned at. It's like, you're not old, you're only 40.
You're actually not old. You're not old.
Just older.
It's just not young. Youngy.
Thank you, Tom. That's great. What we're going to do is we're going to jump into our first feature, which is called Geeky Guys Favorites. So basically, on our normal podcast, me and Dave ask each other, but when we have a guest, we like to ask our guest. So I've got a thing here with 5 options on it, Tom. So all you need to do is pick a number between 1 and 5.
Okay, 4.
4.
Right at.
Oh, okay. So this one's got nothing to do with TV or science or anything.
Oh, look at that.
This one is favorite holiday destination.
Favorite holiday destination. Wow. Okay. Well, I don't travel as much as I'd like, but probably for the summer is Park City, Utah.
Okay.
I have family with. I love it. Just love hiking and biking, and
Nice.
The other thing is probably any chance to go home, which is New York City.
Nice.
So, because I'm in New York, and not that I have anything against LA. I love LA, but I need I just every once in a while I need to go see my hometown. I mean, there's probably other places. You've been to LA? Go ahead.
I've done LA, but I've not done New York. It's on the list. I'd like to go visit New York.
I mean, it's it's changed a little bit. I'm remember my grittier 90s, 2000s days, but there's it needs to be experienced in your lifetime.
I think it's the same with like London. I think
yes,
one of those cities that you have to go to and at least have a wander around. And again, London's not escaped change over the years either.
Right.
I mean, London has very strict rules in terms of the skyline and what buildings you can build. You have to get
right.
And there's certain buildings like St. Paul's Cathedral that you can't, within a certain eye line, you're not allowed to build, so it doesn't hide it and things like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, London does change a little bit.
Although it was quite nice for us, wasn't it? Just mentioning St Paul's Cathedral there, and we managed to do the copy of the old Cybermen scene, didn't we, from a '60s Doctor Who episode? Because all the buildings and everything was still as it was. So that was quite nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, you can't
recreate that.
That's
in
so
London
cool.
without being geeky, can you, Dave? That's
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's been exactly 30 years since I've been there.
Ooh.
And all I can remember is how amazed I was by the basement section of the Tower Records. That's my or how much great electronica I could get at the time, wandering these small little stores. That was, upstate New York just wasn't as cultured. So where I was going to school at the time.
I know you've already answered one, but I'm gonna, because there's one on my list that you didn't say, I want to chuck it in anyway, just for a giggle. So you can't say the Orville itself, but this one says favorite TV or film spaceship. So is there anything from TV or film that you really like the ship from?
Oh well, that's actually easy. I like the what's Buck Rogers? What's Buck Rogers spaceship? There's the Marauder, and then my brain.
Buck Rogers in the 25th century. That was
the Gil Gerard.
Gil Gerard.
Yeah. And I love the Viper from Battlestar Galactica. Obviously, I love the movie 1701 Enterprise. I love the Orville, but I feel like I'm cheating when I say that. I think that's a very cool. I think it's a very cool ship. But I mean, if we're taking the Orville out of it, obviously, and I loved the Y wing. That's the bomber, right? From Star Wars with the two. Yes, and I even though I had an X-wing, I would always play with my Y wing. So, I could go on, but those are the ones that come to mind super fast.
Okay.
In case you think I got a thing for single engine fighters or fighters, one man fighters.
One of my favorites, I'll just chuck it in there just because it sometimes gets a little bit missed, is I love Serenity from Firefly. I think that's in terms of the way it's designed to fit the story, I think that was a brilliant set and a nice ship.
No, it's a great. I was late to the Serenity party, so it doesn't. That's my fault, but it is a cool ship.
Was it the Ranger 3?
One more thing. The Phoenix from Battle of the Planets. I used to draw that endlessly. I used to also draw when Josie and the Pussycats went out in space too. Remember it was like the ship with the bubble head. I used to draw that too. That was.
Was it the Ranger 3 that you was thinking of for Buck Rogers?
No, not the Ranger 3. That's the ship they find him in. The where the planetary. Oh, I'm gonna look it up.
That's what we have to do, isn't it? We're not too sure. Let's have a quick look. Let's Google it.
What is it? It's they call them the Thunder Fighters, medium starfighter.
Yeah.
I've
not seen Buck Rogers in years. Might have to do a rewatch.
Right, this guy. Hold on. This. Hang on. I'm attached. But see that guy?
I know. Yeah,
rings a bell.
See those? That's my thing. That's my jam.
That's your jam.
Jam right there.
Now I'm going to flip you so you can see me. Okay, there we go. Hi.
I like it. In fact, go on, Dave. While we're at it, quickly, what's your favourite? Because I've said, Tom said.
Yeah. Enough about me.
The favourite starship, and we on that one still. Obviously, we always quite like the Enterprise E from Star Trek.
Yes,
that's fair. Yeah, it's a good one too. See, there's so many. That's a gorgeous ship.
The organic ship from Farscape. That's quite cool as well.
That is cool.
I'd always just cheat and say the TARDIS because that could be.
I suppose it is a time ship. Yeah, true.
This Discovery from 2001 is cool. I mean, some people like the Sulaco. I like the dropship from Aliens.
Yes,
the ones that sort of look like, But there's to limit it to just a couple is, if you're a real fan, it's hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of out there, isn't there? A lot of ones that are good for different reasons, aren't they?
Yeah, even a
Sorry, I was going to say, having said that, if we bring it back to the Orville for a second, we do like the Orville. That's really nice. It's almost, I don't know what's the word. It almost looks organic, really, the way it turns at the back. I don't know if you were aware of any.
I think it went through a bunch of designs. I think there was the idea to be organic, and also, I mean, the idea of the triple engine. It wanted to feel sort of sleek, I believe. And I mean, I think it's not a regret, but I can imagine if we somehow manage to do another season, there might be some more Union spaceships that might make their way into the series. Because I think we feel like we're a little constrained.
Tom, we've had 3 series. Do you think there's a likelihood that we might see more, or?
If there's an appetite, I mean, the reason that Disney Plus is to get more viewers on it. So I think, we're playing in a sandbox that requires a certain amount of, we're not just an IP. We're a high value IP.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot to make the whiz bangs and stuff. So it's just business. I mean, yeah, I think everybody here wants to do it. I think Seth wants to do it. I think a lot of the cast wants to do it. And I think a lot of the fans want to do it. So if they can make it out, work it all out economically, I think there'll be more. And if they can't, then we did what we had to do. Well, that's me being political. That's the honest truth. I wish that's really it. That's really it. Hollywood's a business.
We hope it happens. We hope it, it puts itself in a position where it's getting those numbers and those figures. And
at the end of the day, you've got a lot of good sci-fi films and shows on Disney Plus at the moment as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you're going to get fans that are perhaps not really seen the Orville yet, but they'll get onto that through watching like Star Wars, through watching the Marvel films. So I think it will do even better on Disney Plus. I think going forward.
I mean, the beauty about those platforms, excuse me, is that when you watch something, it gives you you may also like. So it promotes things in the same sort of genre. So that's nice. That's the one thing streaming media's got, excuse me, as opposed to just watching something live on TV.
I mean, so I mean, the fact that they're doing that, they're providing the support, I mean, but we're not, I keep making the joke, we're not My Dinner with Andre. I mean, I love the Bear on Hulu, but the Bear on Hulu it's easier to make.
Yeah.
So that matters.
Yeah, it's like you say, it comes down to the bottom line at the end of the day. It is going to be a business decision, isn't it, as to whether the viewership and the ratings goes with how much it costs to make an episode, how much it costs to make a season, and
well, even so much as amortizing, like I mean, not that I know all the business of Star Trek, but Star Trek has 50 years of IP sets and costumes, and I know that some of those productions share the AR wall. Or they were, so that amortizes costs, if the Orville was part of 5 Planetary Union series, it'd be a different thing as well. So all these little things, not manufacture, they add up to the calculus.
Yeah,
you could see that, couldn't you, going forward? If we're to be lucky enough to get another season or 2 of the Orville, we could perhaps see some spin-off shows coming up where there's one that's all about the Krill, there's one that's like a prequel series about the Kalon, and it
would be so much fun. But like I said, it's hard to build an IP up from the ground. So so whatever success we've had, I'm grateful for.
Yeah. Is there anything, we talked about sort of storyline, social and economic issues that, you've covered, but we've also talked a lot about the fact that there's a lot of character development and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is there anything, I don't really want to give too much away if people haven't watched the series 3 yet, not the last series 3 yet, but is there any particular things that you would have liked to have seen that hasn't happened?
That hasn't happened. I had an answer to that. I'm trying to. Hasn't happened. I'm afraid to say something because it might be giving away a potential new season plot point. I think it would be fun to keep our main storylines going, but I'd also like to probably visit some. I think we do a real good job when we visit new species and aliens, and it would be great to have a couple opportunities to do that. I mean, ones we haven't met. I mean, I'd love to continue with Denal. I think she's fun. I'd love to revisit the Choctaw at some point. That's the guy, you know, just something stupid. I shouldn't say stupid, but like just something that's like was like a tiny little beat in our show, be expanded into something full. Like the way they brought Lucella back. Oh, sorry, spoiling that for some. Sorry, never mind. Nothing. Forget what I said.
To be honest,
nothing.
It's fine, and it's my own fault. To be fair, that I've not watched it. Now they're all out.
I made it 43 minutes without spoiling anything, which is pretty good.
Yeah, and
but
again,
I mean, I'm technically not. It's been out for 24 hours. So.
Exactly. Yeah, we should
this
watch
is true. It's my own.
I'm the spoiler police on the show, so like you know.
That's the whole Prime Directive thing going on with that one, isn't it? About,
exactly.
Technology going to cultures before they're ready for it, and things like that, which is always interesting. I think it's always quite cool as well, and that they've done it at least a couple of times where they'll actually look back at like the time we're in now. So they'll look back at the 21st century, and they'll be looking at it through different eyes, through people that are so many hundreds of thousands of years in the future. And I always think that's done really well as well, and allows you to look at life now in a very different way.
Yeah,
with a different viewpoint. I think that's always really cool, and that's always been big in Star Trek as well, where something's happened and they've had to go back in time to 21st century to solve a problem or to investigate something. And I think those episodes are always pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
What I sometimes like just the little things that are brought in, like I forget which episode, but where they find a smartphone. I think that's hilarious. How you've got a piece of technology that we would use today, and they call it this relic, and they've got this smartphone sat there, and they're investigating
it's the whole time capsule, isn't it?
That whole
that's
thing was just
and that, you know, that made the whole thing with Leighton, the Leighton Meester story, which that was one of my favorite. That episode from season 2 was one of the ones that snuck up on us. It wasn't like one we were thinking about much, and then when it was put together, we were like, oh, this is way more emotional than we thought. And then when the viewer reaction was huge, and it was like one of the favorite episodes, like, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
It was not that we didn't give it thought, but it was just like one of those, and it was like, oh, this is a very nice story. But then, like, by the time, on paper it was nice, and by the time it's acted and shot, it's, oh wow, and then it's out, and you're like, oh wow.
And then
one of those.
You think that's emotional, and then they revisit it again later down the line. With Gordon, his reunion with Leighton, and he goes through the whole thing and kind of has to lose her again. So it's I think that's always good as well, where you can look at a story slightly different in the future, whether you do it a season later or a season later on, you can revisit certain things, can't you?
Right. I mean, that's the beauty of having 3 seasons now, is we have our own, for lack of a better word, history to draw upon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like you said, obviously Star Trek's got a lot of years of history to draw from, and you're slowly building that up with the Orville.
Well, I mean, it's a standard sci-fi trope. I mean, like, take an episode like Yesterday's Enterprise. Yesterday's Enterprise was twice as interesting because, there was all the history with the Klingons for the first 3 seasons, and they brought Tasha Yar back. So, but that's because the Next Generation built upon its own IP.
Yeah. Absolutely, it's a good way to do it. And the other thing I was going to mention to you actually as well, I know you did the Orville experience at the San Diego Comic Con.
I did. I did.
I don't know whether that's something that may be revisited again in the future, and there might be a sort of an Orville exhibition or Orville museum that'll appear at the cons. Or
I think if we do another season, we might do something. We kept it pretty simple this year. It's a bit of an undertaking. But that was I'm glad it happened when it did, because obviously the end of the world was coming, so we got to go out in a big way.
Yeah, it's good you got that in then with the big crowd and without all the COVID restrictions.
I was just down there and feel how you want about COVID. Like, there's no way I would want to be at the head of that thing. I mean, you're just asking for trouble.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot more things to think about, isn't there?
Exactly.
In the post-COVID world.
Exactly. The monkeypox COVID museum.
Oh God, yeah. It's the
Sorry.
one that keeps giving.
Yes, exactly.
We're going to jump into just our second feature now, really quick, which is always a cool one. Me and Dave, we struggle with this sometimes because a lot going through some of our podcasts, we're always coming out with trivia all the time, and then we get to the "Did you know" section, and we've said everything.
Yeah, yeah, we already mentioned all that.
We'll keep it nice and quick. So me and Dave will just pick one thing, and then if you've got a nice little nugget of information that maybe people don't know about the show,
Sure.
be anything from a prop.
In fact, Tom actually nicked one of my "Did you knows" earlier on in the.
And you nicked mine, Dave, as well.
And so I've had to pick another one now.
So I'm going to
learn more, though, so that's good.
I'm going to jump in first, so you can't pinch my next one, Dave. That's what I'm going to do.
Right, I see.
Go for it.
Go for that.
So my piece of trivia is that, well, Lieutenant Commander Bortus, of course, he does resemble a Klingon a little bit, but Bortus was the name of the ship that transported K'mpec in Star Trek TNG and was commanded by Duras. So Star Trek.
I didn't actually know that. I didn't know that. I forgot.
This is what we live for
good.
on this piece.
Nice.
I like to do
actually forgot. I forgot that.
That's the Bortas was a Klingon ship from
yeah.
There you go. That's my piece of trivia. What have you got, Dave?
Nice.
Okay, so I'm going to be mentioning the late Norm Macdonald. Here, good old Norm and Yaphet. Apparently, he was named after Yaphet Kotto, who played the character Parker in Alien.
That is true. That is very true.
Yeah, and I think he sadly passed away just before season 3 was starting production, was it? Or?
No, he passed away a year ago. But he had just completed his lines. We didn't even know he was recording his lines from this hospital bed. He was very private.
Right. Oh, blimey.
Yeah. But the last couple ADRs, his voice felt like it was losing a little resonance, and so we were starting to get curious. But no, hell of a dude.
Wow. I mean, it's amazing, that is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great guy.
So Tom, no pressure, but we need a really good piece of trivia.
About the Orville?
Yeah, about the show. Anything about the show. It could be. I mean, it could be something like. It could be something. If we were doing a Star Trek one, there's lots of like silly little bits about set design. I mean, you can't do this with Orville, but things like the top of one transporter was the bottom of another one, and things like that.
Yeah, actually, I got one.
Yeah,
which no one caught, and I'm sort of surprised. The ceiling of the astrophysics lab that's over the table, the new set, is actually the engineering ring from our old engineering set. And I don't understand why no one pointed that out, given how obsessive some people are. Everything was built new, but they found a way to sort of like incorporate it as a design element. So they took that middle ring, and it's actually hanging from the ceiling. Now go back and look at the episode, and you'll see.
Yeah,
above everybody's head at the table, it's the engineering ring.
Going to be doing that. You see, we love that sort of stuff.
And it's cost saving as well.
It was a little, it was. I mean, it was a little bit of. I mean, this cost was. I don't think that was the main factor. I think it was just sort of like to incorporate a design element. Also, it wasn't a full piece that could be moved. So, because we were rebuilding there was no more engineering plug in the engine room, so no more use for it. Also, the engineering ring is 3 times the size.
Right. Yeah, I think it's like the old thing with Star Trek, where they use the original series transporter pad as part of the transporter set on the Next Generation.
Yeah, I mean, we recycle some sets. I mean, like the conference room becomes the replicator room, and we obviously use the giant space inside the shuttle bay to build swing sets. So sometimes you'll see the BTS, there'll be like the shuttle bays in the background. It's a pretty massive space. It's like half of a stage.
Right. Yeah, it's a big area, that is, isn't it? I've got another I've got a Seth one for you as well. I think we should get one in there on the
Go
trivia.
on, let's have
So
one
it's quite good. I've not heard this. I assume it's true, but we'll check that. But apparently, Seth said in a live Q&A on Instagram that Taller's name came from seeing the word Taller printed on some of his T-shirts, and he didn't know what it meant. So
I
you just
think
thought, "Oh, that
that's
sounds quite
true.
cool. I'll use it."
I,
And
I think it's true.
it's since found out that it means size in Spanish.
Yeah. I think he might also be joking too. I forget. You know,
Yeah.
he can be very cheeky about that stuff. But I don't actually know the Tala one. But
Yeah.
I read that too. It could be true. You know.
Yeah, it's one to
Sometimes-
ask him next time you see him.
Well, you know, sometimes you know, there's like people think there's like complicated answers to, and sometimes the simple answer is the real answer. You know.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? That's how a lot of these things happen. It's inspired by real life, isn't it?
Yeah.
There was the big redesign. Well, I say big. Obviously, you've just mentioned there that the ship has a bit of a redesign inside. You know, a lot of the areas that you use get a bit of an overhaul. Now, obviously, I'm talking from a place where I've not seen a lot of Series 3, so I'm not sure if is there a story related reason for this, or
the idea, the cheat idea is sort of like the way they did the movie is like it's just the idea was that they were rebuilding to fight the Kalon, but you know, it's like a half of a reboot, half. I mean, that's the basic idea, but it's an excuse to upgrade.
right?
But narratively, that's the idea.
Yeah.
So, and it fits within the, you know,
The whole new
we do address it in
Horizons and all that.
yeah,
Well.
but we do address it like that they've upgraded the engines and all that other stuff. So, but it was, yeah, I loved the it was just enough little sleekness to complete the sets.
Because you kind of got that aspect. I mean, obviously, you had in Star Trek Voyager, you had Seven of Nine, who had originally been part of the Collective and the Hive Mind, and she was helping them develop the ship to better fight against the Borg. And you've kind of got a similar thing, though slightly more understated, with Isaac, where he can do that. He's in that position as well, where he can develop things which can help protect and defend and understand the Kalon better.
Exactly. But yeah, that was really it was really sort of like a wink to changing things around.
Yeah, no, I like it. We're gonna. What's it? We're gonna. That didn't sound professional at all, is it? We're gonna.
I like it.
We're going to start drawing to a close now, Tom, because I know obviously you've got places to be and people to see.
Well, it's not really. I'm moving. I'm just the Zoom screen will change.
Yeah.
This is pretty much where I'll be till about 5.
And as we mentioned earlier, I've got to go and put some more after sun on. So
no, I can't tell. You actually look tan. So whatever you're doing is working.
I appreciate that.
Never filter you're using. Keep it switched on.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's doing the job.
And just to recap to everybody that obviously series 1 to 3 we think is out on Disney Plus now, but certainly will be out on Disney Plus and Hulu on the 10th, definitely. Tom.
Yeah, so we'll be all of Disney Plus and all of Hulu starting on the 10th.
Yeah. So if you've not watched it or you've only watched series 1 or whatever, get back, rewatch it, and go all the way through.
Tell your friends.
Give
it a shot.
Family, tell your friends.
Tell your family, tell your friends. Enjoy lots of expensive space fun.
Yeah, we certainly second that, don't we? If anybody's watching this that's curious about the Orville, just go and watch it. It's amazing. It's brilliant. You won't be disappointed.
Well, it's a commitment. It's not even that much. It's 36 episodes, so it's a commitment. But it's not like it's not. It's a good bingeable couple of weeks, 1 week.
Yeah.
You know, if you're stuck.
Exactly. It's not like you've got to catch up with 15 seasons.
Exactly.
Like some shows.
Tom, thank you so much for coming to speak with us.
Thanks for having me.
What can we expect to see from you next? Is there anything that you're currently working on? Tell us about.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm just on to my. I might have been sucked up by the bear. So. I might be following the boss over to the next adventure in Gordon Malloy. So that's where I'll be while I patiently await to find out if there's a season 4 of the Orville.
Well,
all in with the bear
staying close to the
nest.
I'm staying close to the nest.
as well, and hoping that that does happen. I'm sure with everybody else as well.
Actually, several of the crew are over there right now, so which is nice. So it's like we're still a family.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. But you know, I would like to say I put the, because I know there was a rumor that people thought that like Seth was leaving or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, he is the Orville. I like to repeat this. It's the only rumor where I go, oh my God, please. You know, Seth is the show. He loves it. He wants to do more. He's not going anywhere. The minute that they tell him it's greenlit, he'll probably drop what he's doing and start writing.
We love that. Exactly. We had heard that, and we didn't mention it because, quite frankly,
no, I appreciate it.
We don't like rumors like that, especially when we looked at it, you couldn't really see where it came from anyway. So
I think people are extrapolating. It's just, look, rumors are fine. It means people are talking about you, but rumors that just don't make, if you know anything about the show, you would never draw that conclusion about Seth.
It's absolutely his baby and his love, and you know, that just wouldn't happen. But I think people don't realize sometimes as well that he's not been really involved with Family Guy and like American Dad for a while, apart from doing obviously the voices. But you know, he's fully in with the Orville.
Right, and he's superhuman, so you know, but he does eventually have to sleep at least a couple hours a week.
yeah, don't we all? We are. But I think I remember seeing something as well. Is he going to be is he either working or going to be working on a TED TV series?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah. Right, I'm with you. Yeah,
I was joking. I was being cryptic, but yes, that's what. Yes.
Yeah.
He's working on that right now, but you know, that's in progress, and that will eventually come out. But you know, I think hopefully by the time we're done shooting, or September. I mean, I'm not sure what the timeline is, but in the next few months, I think we'll have a good idea if there will be more spaceship or not.
Yeah, cool.
Sure. Right, well, in that case, then, thank you, Tom, for coming on. Everybody that's listening, you can catch up with all our gossip and news at geekyeyes.co.uk. Don't forget to watch series 1 to 3 of The Orville, binge watch it, and then keep your scans peeled for the TED TV show coming out, of course. Well, good luck with the series, and hopefully get series 4 of The Orville, and we will catch up with you later.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for coming on, Tom.
Yeah, of course.